What up guys, the Bench Buddies are back with a special video here for the World Baseball Classic. I'll be going over the 20 teams and ranking them according to me and what I think the best teams are from 1st to 20th. But before I get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below to get us to 500 subscribers, where we will be doing an autographed item giveaway. And all you have to do to be entered into that is by hitting that subscribe button. So let's jump into the video here. And before we jump into the 20, we'll look at the pools and what can happen. A lot of good teams this year. I would say Pool C, Pool D, and Pool B are the top pools just for team-wise. Then Pool A kind of falls off a little bit, but I think Pool D is probably the best pool out of all these pools, and it should be an interesting tournament to say the least. But at 20, we have China coming in, and this team has a lot of question marks. It's made up mostly of China Baseball League players, which really haven't played since 2019. And Ray Xiong has been the best player on this team. In the past 3 World Baseball Classics, he's hit .324, and he's going to be the guy that they're going to have to rely on in the lineup. And can this team hand Japan or South Korea a loss? This would be a huge upset if that were to happen, but it is the World Baseball Classic and we've seen upsets happen. At 19, we have the Czech Republic checking in here, and this team wasn't even supposed to be here. They upset Spain in the qualifying round 3-1 to get here for their first ever appearance. Eric Sogard is the only big leaguer on this team, and this is a team that it's a good story about how they got here. A lot of amateur players working day jobs, part-time firefighter, and then comes to practice at night. And this is another team. It'll be a huge upset if they can upset Japan or South Korea. At 18, we have Australia, and their most well-known player is Liam Hendriks, but he is not playing in this year's tournament. The only other big league experience they have is Warwick Sappold and Aaron Whitfield. Royals prospect Robbie Glennon, has hit pretty well, and he'll provide some power, but could they hand Japan or South Korea a loss? The bottom 3 teams so far you've seen are all in Pool B, and Japan and South Korea are ahead of them, so it's tough sledding for them. At 17, we have Nicaragua finally making their World Baseball Classic after not making it the last 2 tries that they could have. The pitching for this team is going to be their key, with Jonathan Lozanga, Erasmo Ramirez, Brewers prospect Carlos Rodriguez, and their biggest question mark is hitting. Not too many experienced hitters and can battle these top arms, so we're really going to have to see how they do. At 16, I have Great Britain, and this team could, surprise some teams, but I don't think they're going to really get to the next round. They could maybe pull off one upset, but I don't think anything more than that. Trace Thompson, Ian Gilboa, and Vance Worley are making up the veterans, and the best player on the team right now is Harry Ford, who is the 12th pick of the 2021 draft, and he's the top prospect in the Mariners. And he raked in the qualifying round, and let's see if he can continue that in this year's tournament. At 15, I have Panama, and this team has lots of, firsts that could be done. They could win their first game in the World Baseball Classic this year. It's going to be interesting to see how they get there, if they can get there. Pitching, that's what's going to have to make up their, they're going to have to win like a 2-1 kind of game. I think that's the only way Panama can get past a few of these teams, because the hitting isn't there as well. But, it would be good to see if they do get that first win. 14, I have Israel in Pool D. This team, is looking like another Cinderella story if they go somewhere. They were the Cinderella team in 2017, and now they're in one of the best pools of the year. So it's going to be tough sledding ahead of them. But they got Jack Peterson, Alex Dickerson, Garrett Stubbs, Dean Kramer, Richard Blyer, and Jake Fishman highlighting this roster. And they have returning MVP of Pool A last time, Ryan Lavarnway, and he was a big key to their success last time. At 13, I have Italy in Pool A. Their interesting thing is Mike Piazza taking over as the club manager. And I think this is a team that could fly under the radar and pull off a few upsets in Pool A to, even get to the next round. And this team is made up of a lot of MLB prospects: Vinny Pasquantino, Joey Marsano, and Sal Frelick, to name a few. And Vinny is going to have to carry the load on his back this time around. He's a good power hitter, but we'll have to see if he can really put it all together here in this tournament. And then Matt Harvey is an interesting name for Italy. He's making his appearance in the World Baseball Classic after spending all of last year in the minor leagues. At 12, I have Chinese Taipei. I don't know too much about this team, but the hitting is going to be the key for this team. Yu Chang has been great in the major league so far. Their MVP, Li Lin, led, and I don't know how to say his name, but he led the league in home runs last year. But they don't have too much of a strong roster, but this is a host site, and the host fan and the home fans will show out, so they could have a slight home field advantage. At 11, I have Colombia, and I like this team. I think this team could sneak in to a bracket game as well. Pitching should be the strong point yet again. Jose Quintana is highlighting the starting pitching. It's one of the best hitting rosters they've had in a while, with Gio Urshela, Harold Ramirez, Oscar Mercado, and Jorge Alfaro behind the plate. But I think this is the best team in Pool C to steal a spot from either Mexico or U.S., and it's very possible. Starting the top 10, I have Canada here in Pool C. Freddie Freeman and Tyler O'Neill are going to have to be the guys that carry this team to the next round. Cal Quantrill and Nick Pivetta are going to have to pitch deep into games for this team to win, because the bullpen is not a strong suit for them. And, they are also in the USA and Mexico, but I don't think they're going to do too much. They just don't have enough depth compared to the other teams in their pool. At 9, the Netherlands check in here. They're in Pool A, and this team is made up of a lot of mainland countries, and you can see there, mainland Europe, Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, Saba, St. Augustus, and St. Marine. And this team's led by Xander Bogaerts and Jonathan Scope, so a good middle infield. Pitching will have decent options, but we're going to have to see if they can advance to the next round. Then Kenley Jansen and Jared Jurgens more than likely will get added to this team, which would be a huge boost for that bullpen. 8, I have Cuba, and I think this team right here is my sneaky favorite to win it all. If they get hot, then they can definitely do it. They got Luis Robert and Yohan Moncada leading the charge, with a name that you may have forgotten, with Yoenis Cespedes returning to this team with full young Cuban prospects. And the biggest question mark surrounding this team right now is pitching. Don't know too much about the rotation and the bullpen, but obviously that's a big question mark. If you don't know too much about it in the World Baseball Classic, it's a concern. At 7, I have Korea. This team could possibly make a run for best duo up the middle with Ha-Sung Kim and Tommy Edman. Those two have been great defensively. Jae Chung and Bung Ho Park ranked number 2 and number 4 all-time in Korean baseball home runs. And, they have the last year's KBO MVP playing before posting to the MLB next year. So this team has a loaded lineup, but pitching, is going to be tough for them getting to that bullpen, because the back end is very good. At 6, I have Mexico checking in here, led by Julio Urias, with Jose Urquidy, Patrick Sandoval, and Taiwan Walker making the rotation one of the best in this year's World Baseball Classic. You got Alex Verdugo, Randy Rosarina, Alejandro Kirk, and Luis Urias on the team. So a good 1 through 4, 1 through 5, how they pan that out. And I think this is the best shot of upsetting Team USA in pool play would be Mexico. Starting the top 5, I have Venezuela checking in here. Ronald Acuna Jr. is set to join the squad after, concern for his injuries and if the Braves would let him, but they did. And he is going to be playing alongside Luis Arraez, David Peralta, and Anthony Santander. Jose Altuve, Miggy, and Salvador Perez are also on the team, and they've played in all of the World Baseball Classics for Venezuela, and more than likely will be their last, I will say. And I think what's going unnoticed is their pitching is Eduardo Rodriguez for the Tigers and Pablo Lopez now for the Twins. They're very good, and I think they're going to be under the radar pitching in this World Baseball Classic. At 4, I have Puerto Rico, and this team has fallen short the last 2 Classics in 13 and 17 where they lost in the championship. Javi Baez and Francisco Lindor, I would say, if we're ranking them, probably the best double play duo in this year's World Baseball Classic. And their strong suit is pitching. If it gets to the seventh, and then eighth inning comes around, it's Edwin Diaz and his brother are going to be 8-9 innings, and that's going to be a very scary, task for those hitters. And then Jose Barrios and Marcus Stroman, who is an interesting case because he joined this team's after pitching against them in the championship with Team USA. He is now on the Puerto Rico team, so that might be a storyline to monitor as we get deeper in the tournament. At 3, we have the United States, and they're looking to defend that title from, 6 years ago. It's been that long, but they've held it for that long, and I think they came back with an even better team on paper with Mike Trout, Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, JT Realmuto, Mookie Betts, Kyle Tucker, Will Smith, just to name a few. And, they're shooting for a repeat, and it's going to be nothing but a failure for them if they don't repeat. At 2, I have Japan coming out of Pool B, a heavy favorite to win their pool and make a run at this. They have one of the deepest rosters in the World Baseball Classic, and obviously it's led by Shohei Ohtani, who can do it all, and Yu Darvish. It's going to be a very scary 1-2 punch for whoever has to face those guys on back-to-back days. And then, you can see the rest there. Pretty good. Elite starting pitching, got their third. They have the reigning NPB MVP on their team with 56 home runs. And the only negative for this team is Seiya Suzuki dropped out due to an injury, so just hurt their depth a little bit, but I think Japan will be just okay. And at 1, of course, I have the Dominican Republic. They're the front runner to win it all with this loaded roster. Rafi Devers and Manny Machado splitting time at third and DH. Julio Rodriguez, Juan Soto, and Eloy Jimenez playing in the outfield. And then you add Wander Franco, Ketel Marte, Teoscar Hernandez. The list goes on and on for hitters. And pitching, you have Sandy Alcantara, Christian Javier, Rosney Contreras, and Johnny Cueto. And, that's just a very, very scary 4 guys in that rotation. And then the bullpen will make up with some flamethrowers as well. So, I think if you're a betting man, you got to bet on Dominican Republic right now. They just have the best team on paper, but they did lose Vladdy Jr., and that will hurt them for a lineup perspective, but I don't think it's too cause of concern just because how much talent is on this roster. But that's going to be it for the World Baseball Classic Power Rankings. Make sure you guys come back next week to see where we're at in the World Baseball Classic, and I'll re-rank those teams then. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.